guys, it's day 141 of being a boy, and I've been celebrating the SNP and the Scottish Green Party doing so well in the Scottish elections. And with banger adverts like this, it's no wonder.
Edinburgh is not a place, it is a story.
We are layers upon layers, lives built upon lives.
You can, if you reach out,
feel the dead.
You actually can't feel the dead yet. It's still illegal. For now, anyway. Though I guess now we know what the Q+ stands for. So if all the lesbians and gays could do us a solid and support the necrophile community with all the goodwill that you've built up over the last half century or so, yeah, they could use your help now. I'm sure you won't mind them joining on the bandwagon too. Anyway, I'm super happy because we've got 2 trans members of parliament now in the Scottish Greens. So Holyrood's not just male and stale anymore, because some of the males identify as something different. And even if there were a gender imbalance, then we wouldn't know because we don't track it anymore. So that's probably not a problem. 𝕱𝖊𝖊𝖑 was on the regional list as well, but she didn't get in. I thought after the massive stush she made where she was mishandling the rape crisis centre, she'd completely retreated from public life, but I see that was just her hairline. But we do have another Indian trans MSP called Q Mannivan. Indian trans people are kind of like Indian cis men. They've got the same sense of arrogance, entitlement and misogyny, except when they creepily demand bobs and vagine, it's a surgical consultation. Indian cis women are actually really supportive of trans folks, like 𝕱𝖊𝖊𝖑 𝕿𝖍𝖊 does an entire documentary about them called Behind the Looking Glass. It's free to watch online and it's really informative. It's all about trans women and it talks to their wives and ex-wives and ex-girlfriends and people who fled them. It's very interesting. Although a lot of trans people got offended by it but they're not supposed to talk about that stuff apparently. But yeah, give it a watch, it's good. Anyway, there's been some controversy about Q Mannivan. Not to be confused with the controversial minivan, that was the SNP. Yeah, the Turks were complaining about Q because they're in the country on a student visa, and that means that legally they can't work more than 20 hours a week. Well, I don't know what the problem is, Green MSPs don't even work 20 hours a term. I think it's just more proof that trans people need the right to falsify our documents whenever we want. If Q says they identify as having leave to remain, then that's valid, and they should be able to change their documents. But yeah, it's been super scary for Q with all the brutal attacks and people asking questions, being violent with their words. Trans people just aren't safe, especially when so many of them are murdered in prostitution, so you'd think Q would try to stop it. But they selflessly promote sex work as a legitimate career, even though it puts trans folk like them in mortal danger. So that's really selfless of them. Though Q's a former private school kid and very rich, so they probably won't be doing sex work, unless we're poor people. I guess that's part of the Greens' anti-poverty plan. If you're sick of figuratively getting raped by bills, then why not literally get raped instead? It's actually empowering if you think about it, because it empowers you to, not starve or not lose your house. Love ya.